going to talk about the definition of financial aid. We're going to talk about applying for financial aid and eligibility. We're going to talk about the types of financial aid that are out there for graduate students. We're going to talk about the cost of attendance, and then we'll go over helpful tips, and we'll give you our contact information so you can reach out to us if you have any questions regarding this presentation or just about anything regarding financial aid. Okay, so let's talk about the definition of financial aid. What is financial aid? Financial aid is an umbrella term that includes any funds that do not come from you to cover your institutional charges from a university, book supplies, tuition charges. And that could include gift money, grants or scholarships that do not need to be repaid, which is the best kind of financial aid you could receive. It also includes loans, which means that is money that's borrowed that needs to be paid back, usually with interest. It also includes work, some kind of a work award. It's money that you earn, and you receive it as a payment from just, like a job, and you can earn it on or off campus, and the money is issued directly to the student. So where does financial aid come from? It comes from the federal government, from the state, from universities, from private sources like an employer, a church, or scholarship foundation. So let's go over how to apply for financial aid. So the first step, as I'm sure you've heard, is to complete the FAFSA. You want to complete the FAFSA on studentaid.gov. You can complete that now. You don't have to wait until you're admitted. You just want to make sure that if you're thinking of attending LMU, that you include us as the school where you want your FAFSA to go. Our school code, I'm going to go over it right now. And let's talk about when you plan to attend, though. For those students that are planning to attend, are looking to apply for the summer 2024, you want to make sure that you complete the FAFSA for the 23-24 academic year, because summer is considered part of the current academic year. Now, for those of you that are thinking of coming in the fall, you want to make sure that you complete the FAFSA for the 24-25 academic year. Both FAFSAs are currently out there, so I just wanted to make sure I go over that because we don't want you to get confused. So for students in the summer, coming in the summer 23-24, for those of you starting in the fall, it would be the 24-25. And just one added little bit of caution that the summer FAFSA, or the FAFSA for this current academic year, will close on June 30th. So if you're thinking of attending, you want to make sure that you get that done as quickly as possible, because the Department of Education does close that FAFSA on June 30th of the current year. So what does the FAFSA do? The FAFSA determines the student's eligibility for financial aid. Students must create an FSA ID, username and password, before they can complete the FAFSA to sign it. That's the way that you sign it electronically. For those of you that already have an FSA ID, you probably had one from maybe your undergraduate years. You can still use that same FSA ID. You would not need to create a new one. The information that's reported on the FAFSA for the current year is 2022, and for the coming year will be 2023. LMU school code is 001234, really easy to remember. That is the school code that you would use if you want the FAFSA to come to LMU. And again, you don't have to wait until you're admitted to complete the FAFSA. And the FAFSA does have to be completed each year. You also want to complete your department scholarship application for those students that are coming in this summer. The application is out there now on our website, financialaid.lmu.edu. And you want to go to the scholarship section, and you'll find your scholarship application for your college in that area. You want to make sure that you complete that so that you can submit it directly to your college so they can review it and determine if you're eligible for any institutional aid. Okay, aid eligibility, and here we're talking about federal aid. So to qualify for federal aid, you have to be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen. You have to have a high school diploma or equivalent. You have to have a valid Social Security number, and you must be enrolled or planning to enroll in a degree-seeking program or eligible non-degree credential program for those that are going into the education field. You must enroll at least half-time. For a graduate degree-seeking students, half-time is 3 units. For a non-degree credential student, half-time is considered 6 units. And then to continue to receive aid, you must maintain satisfactory academic progress. And I know that's not going to be a problem with our students. And you may not be in default on any federal student loans or grants. Let's talk about grants and scholarships. What's out there for students? One of the great grants that's out there right now is the Teach Grant program that provides up to $4,000 a year to students who are completing or plan to complete coursework needed to begin a career in teaching. To be eligible, students have to complete a FAFSA. You must be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen, and you must sign a teach agreement to serve that specifies the conditions under which the Teach Grant will be awarded. To indicate your interest in the federal Teach Grant, you want to go to studentaid.gov. It will be one of the questions that's asked of you when you complete the FAFSA. Part of the agreement to serve is that you will teach in a high need field at an elementary school or secondary school that serves students from low income families. And you agree to work for 4 complete academic years within 8 years after completing your course of study. Now, one thing that we do want to mention about the federal Teach Grant is if you don't complete the terms of the agreement, the Teach Grant will be converted to a direct unsubsidized loan as of the first date of disbursement. And you'll have to pay it with interest, past interest, as of the date that it was dispersed. But again, if you are thinking of going into the teaching field, this is a grant that would not have to be repaid. So it's a wonderful program for those of you that are going into teaching. Another great program that's out there for teachers is the Cal Grant TCP, Teaching Credential Program. Now, this is only available for those students that received a Cal Grant A or B as an undergraduate at least 15 months ago. So if you received a Cal Grant as an undergraduate, you may be eligible to receive it for 1 additional year. And as you know, the Cal Grant is a grant that doesn't have to be repaid. So it's the best kind of financial aid that you can receive. To be eligible, you have to, of course, submit the FAFSA. That's always a requirement for these state and federal grants. And you have to complete Form G44. You'll complete that. It's on the CSAC website. And you submit that directly to CSAC, which stands for California Student Aid Commission. And then once you submit that to them, they will send it to us, letting us know whether or not you're eligible, and we'll award you a Cal Grant if you're eligible for 1 additional year. Another fabulous program that's out there for those that plan to become teachers is called the Golden State Teacher Grant Program. This program is from the state, and it's a one-time award of up to $20,000. It's a grant, so again, it's money that does not have to be repaid. Students that want to be considered for the Golden State Teacher Grant have to submit a FAFSA or the California Dream application at dream.csac.ca.gov. And then the FAFSA would be on studentaid.gov. Students must be working toward a preliminary teaching or pupil personnel services credential. You must commit to work at a priority school in California for 4 years. And you must maintain good academic standing. To apply, you can visit gstg.csac.ca.gov. And you definitely want to make sure that you visit the website and read on all of the requirements, because there are a lot, and we're not able to list them all here. But again, it's a wonderful program for those that plan to teach, go into the teaching field. It's a grant that doesn't have to be repaid. So I encourage all of you that are considering going into teaching to make sure that you explore this option. Yeah. So then I already talked about the the grants that are available for students by the college. You want to complete the scholarship application that's available on our website and submit that directly to your college. The application for this coming year is available now. So it starts in summer and then it goes through spring, and the applications are out there. You want to make sure that you complete that and submit that, because you never know what you're eligible for. So make sure that you get that done. Also, we encourage students to always look for outside scholarships. Outside scholarships are free monies awarded by outside organizations, private donors that you don't have to repay. Applying for outside scholarships is a great way to minimize your out-of-pocket college expenses. And that means, you have to borrow less in loans for those of you that are thinking of applying for loans. When applying for outside scholarships online, it is essential that you make sure that you are submitting your information over a secure site, which means that your personal information is encrypted and offers more cybersecurity. Here are a few credible online scholarship sources that you could explore: collegeexpress.com, scholarships.com, fastweb.com, the College Board, and scholarshippoints.com. Those are all great sources for you to go to and start exploring outside scholarships. Just to caution you, if you ever come across a site that is asking you for money to apply for a scholarship, don't do it. You should never have to pay any money to apply for a scholarship. So I would just make sure that when you're out there searching that you are really keeping an eye open for those, those fraud sites that are trying to get money out of you. We're always concerned about our students. I also want to mention that when you become an admitted student at LMU, you can apply for outside scholarships on LMU Scholarship Universe. It's LMU's portal where we offer students where they can go on and apply for outside scholarships. It's a way for students to create a profile. Well, actually, you create a profile, and then we start matching you to outside scholarships that you could apply for, and really scholarships that match your criteria. So the more information you put into the portal, the more scholarships you'll be matched with. So it's a wonderful resource that we offer our students. The great thing about Scholarship Universe is that you can track the scholarships that you applied for right in the system, and you'll even start receiving reminders on tasks that you still have missing to complete, a certain scholarship application. So it's a wonderful resource for our students that LMU has, put out there. And once you become an admitted student, it will be available to you as well. Okay, so let's talk about loans. Federal direct loans are also available. Good news. So let's talk about the unsubsidized loan. So for graduate degree seeking students, the unsubsidized loan is available to you for up to $20,500. If you are a non-degree credential student, you may receive up to $12,400 for the academic year, and you may be eligible for a subsidized loan, which is not accruing interest while you're in school, but that really depends on your dependency status. However, for graduate degree seeking students, you can only receive an unsubsidized loan, and you can borrow up to $20,500 for the academic year, including summer. Non-degree students can borrow up to $12,500 for the academic year, including summer. Students must be enrolled at least half-time, and the aggregate for graduate students is $138,500 for, your entire college career. And for non-degree credential students, if you're independent, it's $57,500. For non-degree credential students who are considered dependent students, it's $31,000. The current interest rate is 7.05 with a loan fee of 1.057. And interest begins accruing on loans as of the date it's dispersed to the student, not the date that we award you, not the date that you accept it. It's the date that that's actually dispersed to your account. Students must complete a master promissory note and entrance counseling on studentaid.gov. Studentaid.gov is a website that you're going to hear a lot when it comes to federal loans and completing, even like for the federal Teach Grant. Anything that's federal, you'll have to go to studentaid.gov to complete the requirement. Okay, so let's talk about the Graduate Plus loan. This is also available for graduate degree seeking students, and students may borrow up to the cost of attendance minus other aid, such as the unsubsidized loan or any scholarships or grants that you were awarded. This is a credit-based loan, so you must be credit eligible. It doesn't mean that you have to have perfect credit. It just means that you have to be credit eligible based on their requirements. You must be enrolled at least half-time, and the current interest rate is 8.05 with a loan fee of 4.228. The interest rate is fixed annually and begins accruing on the date the loan is dispersed. Again, it's always when it's dispersed. It's not when we award it. It's not when you accept the loan. And you must complete a master promissory note for the Graduate Plus loan, as well as entrance counseling. So the Graduate Plus loan and the unsubsidized loan both have their own entrance counseling and their own master promissory note that needs to be completed. So I also want to mention that this is only available for graduate degree seeking students. It's not available for non-degree credential students if we have any in the room. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. So what are the benefits of borrowing from the federal direct loans? So why borrow a federal direct loan? The reason I want to talk about this is because we're going to talk about the alternative loans in just a minute. So the interest rate is fixed annually in June for federal direct loans. No credit history is needed for the unsubsidized loan. No cosigner is needed for the unsub loan. The interest rates are lower than private loans, and repayment grace period is 6 months. You have various repayment options, including income-driven payment plans. And there are other plans out there. You want to visit studentaid.gov/plans. There's forbearance and deferment options. There's loan forgiveness. There's a lot of loan forgiveness for teachers. And there's also loan forgiveness for those that work in nonprofits. And there are others out there. So make sure that you visit studentaid.gov/forgiveness so that you can see all the options that are available to you. So other loan options, we always encourage students, if you can borrow, if you have the ability to submit a FAFSA, because not everyone is eligible, we encourage you to go the federal direct loan option first because of the fixed interest rates and everything that I just mentioned. But there are times when you have to go the private route. It is an option for you. Private alternative loans are offered by private lenders such as Chase, Sallie Mae, just different private lenders. It's not supported by the state or the federal funds or the federal government because, like I just said, it's from private lenders. We ask students to carefully evaluate the repayment terms and conditions to be an informed borrower. Because they will vary from lender to lender. You know, it won't be the same from one lender to the other. They will require a credit check, and they have maximum loan amounts, qualifications, repayment plans, and interest rates. They will all vary. You want to make sure that you're reviewing your interest rate. Make sure that it's a set interest rate, that it's not going to, fluctuate. You want to make sure that you're reading those repayment terms. Also want to mention that the Truth in Lending Act requires several steps to be taken by the borrower and the lender before a loan can be dispersed. So it may take a while before we receive a loan when you're borrowing the alternative loan route. But again, I know that some students have to go this route because it may not be eligible for a federal direct loan, but we just ask that you take caution and that you're making sure to read and go through all of the information that the lender is offering. Let's talk about work awards. Yes, you can work. There are graduate students interested in part-time positions as graduate assistant, research assistant, or teaching assistant can search for available positions on studentaffairs.lmu.edu activities/SES. Students can earn between $2,000 and $3,200 per academic year, and your paycheck can be applied toward tuition expenses, or you can use it toward educational expenses. Let's talk about what the estimated cost of attendance is for a student. I can give you one example, and then I can tell you where to go, where you could see the one that's very specific for your college. So what is the cost of attendance? The cost of attendance is a college's total estimated expenses for 1 year, including tuition, housing and food, books and supplies, transportation, federal loan fees, and miscellaneous expenses. A school's cost of attendance is used to determine each student's eligibility for financial aid, such as grants, scholarships, and loans. So this is an example of the cost of attendance that we have on our website for a student in the School of Education, and it's based on 6 units per term. So the tuition for a student in 6 units, it would be $18,504. So that would be for the academic year, not for 1 semester. And the graduate fees would be $200. So your total direct expenses, meaning what direct expenses mean, it means that is what you would have to pay the university for your tuition for 1 academic year. The direct expenses are $18,704. And let's talk about what the indirect expenses are. Now, these are not charged to the student. These are not charged to your student account. This is just us or a university estimating what it would cost you in, for example, food and housing, books and supplies, transportation, personal and miscellaneous, and federal loan fees. So food and housing would be $25,713. Books and supplies would be $938. Transportation, $1,764. Personal and miscellaneous would be $4,428. And federal loan fees would be $1,095. Your total indirect expenses would be $33,938. And your total cost of attendance for one academic year would be $52,642. So the total cost of attendance is what a student can borrow up to for the academic year based on you taking 6 units per term. Now, just because you can borrow up to $52,000 doesn't mean that you have to. The amount that you would owe the university is $18,704. So if for those of us that have maybe some support from parents or outside, sources, grandparents, you may not need to borrow the entire $52,642, but it is an amount that's out there for students in case they need to. And again, your cost of attendance may be higher depending on your program of study and unit enrollment. You can see the cost of attendance by college on our website at financialaid.lmu.edu/graduate/graduate cost of attendance. Okay, so helpful things to remember. Check your email frequently if you apply to the university and you submit a FAFSA. And we have questions, we're going to email you and try to get some answers from you. So make sure that you're checking your email frequently to see if we're sending you anything. Loan borrowers, once you decide that you want to attend the university, you want to make sure that you complete that master promissory note and the entrance counseling after you accept loans. You want to make sure you complete your department scholarship application. It's out there for a reason, and you want to make sure that you submit that to your college for consideration. You want to register your email at finaid.lmu.edu with your spam checker. That way the emails from us don't go directly to spam. And then you want to ask questions and research online. We're here to help you. Don't wait to contact us. We're here to answer questions. If you have a question and you don't know who to ask it, feel free to send it to us. And if we're not the right office, we will find who is, and we will forward your email to them. But we're here to help you. So please do reach out if you have questions. So contacting financial aid, our email is finaid@lmu.edu. That's our phone number and our fax number. You can follow us on Twitter. Our website is financialaid.lmu.edu. And you're welcome to call our office or come in to see us. Our phone lines are open between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday if you want to give us a call. Or again, you can send me an email if you have any questions. Would you put my email in the chat, Maria? Maria's going to put my email in the chat. I just can't see that function when I'm doing a presentation, so she's doing it for me. So right now is an opportunity to ask questions. Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask that we could answer right now live? You can type it into the chat box. If not, you can, if it's more private, you can feel free to send me an email and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. That was, okay, so someone just asked, is the $18,704 per semester or per year? No, that cost of attendance I just provided is for the academic year. So that would be fall and spring, not including summer. And it would be for a student taking 6 units fall, 6 units spring. So that was the example. If you're taking less units, of course, it would be less. If you're taking more, then it would be more. That's a great question. So there was a question that was put out there asking, is there housing for graduate students? Yeah, I believe that there is. LMU does offer housing for graduate students. You want to make sure that you contact the housing office and reach out to them for any questions regarding housing. Maria, do we have their email address that you could provide? Okay, so, PRAL. Oh, someone's asking, what is a PRAL account? So once you are an admitted student, so once you're admitted to LMU, That is where students log on to pay their bill. You can, like the student account bill, or you would log into PREL to accept your financial aid award. However, you have to be an admitted student to have access to PREL. And once you are admitted, we will provide you that information. The admissions will provide you that information. That's a great question. Yeah, we do mention PREL. We just assume everyone knows. So, okay, so someone is asking again about the example that I gave regarding the cost of attendance. That was the cost of attendance for graduate students. And also psychology does fall under the School of Education. So if you're majoring in psychology, I believe it falls under School of Education. And again, that example that I gave was for an academic year, fall, spring, not including summer. And it was for a student taking 6 units and 6 units. Great question, though. Yeah. And again, you can always visit our website under, you're welcome. You can always visit our website and go under cost of attendance, and you'll see the various colleges on there with the different cost of attendance by college. And just keep in mind that your cost of attendance will vary depending on your unit enrollment.